What's up, guys? We should be live. How's it going? Welcome to day 9 of these conversations that we're having all month, the 30 for 30. Tonight, I'm talking to Skya, that one guy. We just call him Skya, but Skya, that one guy. Another businessman in the card space that isn't really. I know you have a YouTube that you haven't used very often or very recently. You also have an Instagram, but you're kind of in the background of things. You're this machine, this TCG player machine that operates in the background and is partnered with Dan, Catch 'em All Collectibles, somebody that you guys know, obviously, and someone I'll be talking to later in the month. But yeah, before we get started, Sky, if you want to just tell us all where we can find you, support you, all that stuff, please do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like you said, Instagram. I do have a YouTube channel. I've been making videos for like 10 years, but I'm definitely on like a 1 year break right now. I'm kind of torn on that. But yeah, Discord. If you have Discord, I'm in Dan's Discord and Oak's Discord, the other one.
Okay,
I'm more active on Discord, but Instagram, you can hop in my DMs anytime. Let me know. I'll answer any questions. So
cool. Yeah, I have his Instagram, should be linked at the top of the chat. So if you guys are watching the playback or in chat right now, you should see it right at the top of the chat. You follow him over there on Instagram. All right, Sky. So tell us a little bit about you. I'm going to ask you for your superhero origin story. Where did the love for cards start, and how did it grow into the business that it is today?
yeah, for sure. So I've been pretty involved in cards most of my life. As a kid, I went to the card shop pretty often. I lived within walking distance of one, so I had a really cool card shop owner let me open up packs. I'd like sort her magic cards and she'd give me some packs and stuff. So I've always been around cards pretty much my whole life, and I had some good experiences as a kid. I pulled a Charizard EX back in the day, sold it for $100 when I was a kid, and that I felt like I was rich and kind of just been chasing that my whole life, you know.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
Now you're big into Yu-Gi-Oh as well, right? Obviously, with your shirt,
yeah,
you're
definitely.
representing Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, there's a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh here. I know this is probably mainly Pokemon people watching this, but I do a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh, and over the last year or two, I've definitely shifted my focus to a lot of Pokemon as well. So.
Were you ever in the playable? Did you ever play the game or do tournaments or anything on the Yu-Gi-Oh side of things?
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! I was pretty into playing. It's been quite a few years now since I started like full-time selling. I kind of shifted towards just selling, but yeah, no, I was pretty deep into playing years back, and Pokemon, I was pretty competitive in my youth, in my teenage years as well. So
Oh, nice. What eras, I guess, were you playing at the time?
yeah, I mean, I went to a lot of tournaments in the GX era, 5Ds for Yu-Gi-Oh, and then Pokemon. It was the dead zone. I think it was what, like 2004 to 2008 is when Pokemon was like considered dead or whatever. But I
Okay.
that was like the height of my Pokemon career. I traveled to regionals. I traveled to Seattle, Washington tournament. A decent amount of tournaments that I traveled to for Pokemon, and I actually did pretty good at a couple of them. I got fourth place was my best it was a really big event, and I got a box of can't remember the set name right now. I had Reggie Ice, Reggie Rock, EXs, whatever that set was. I'm blanking right now,
Oh
but
yeah, I don't remember either, but I know what you're talking about.
yeah, that was definitely the height of my Pokemon career in terms of playing. It was a lot of fun. So
Okay. And did you? A lot of people, when I ask them to explain like their history, there's like a time when they're in it and then they fall out of it and then they got back around like the boom era. Were you just like in it from the
I've
get go?
I've been here for more than 10 years. If you look at my YouTube channel, my TCG player, I mean, I've been here for a very long time. I took a small break to go work in Alaska, maybe like a year, but other than that, I've been selling cards the whole time. So I've been
And
around.
we talked a little bit before this, but you are full time
Yeah,
card.
very full time. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely full time, maybe slightly above what you would consider full time. I'm putting in the work.
Awesome. So can you explain kind of, because obviously in the title I have the TCG player guru. You definitely do a lot of stuff on TCG player. Can you explain like all the different facets of your business, like what because I think you manage multiple accounts on TCGPlayer, and then yeah, so just kind of explain all the facets of your business going on right now.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I'm kind of a jack of all trades right now. I'm doing a lot of stuff. I'm managing Dan's TCGPlayer and eBay, so he's no longer business to customer. He's only business to business. So I'm doing all of his fulfillment on all of his orders on his platforms outside of his streaming with PK and Ponga. And then I run my own TCGPlayer account. I have 70,000 feedback on that account. I run TCGPlayer accounts for another few other people. I don't know if they want their names public, so I won't say anything. But
Okay.
I'm running multiple TCGPlayer accounts, multiple eBay accounts, fulfilling a lot of orders. And then in the near future, I will be testing streaming Metazoo on Fanatics for Dan's account as well. So I've got a little bit of everything going on. I do a lot of consignments. I have maybe 10 different people from Dan's Discord. Just I'm I'm selling their cards for him on TCGPlayer right now. So yeah, kind of a jack of all trades. I sell Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, One Piece, Lorcana, whatever people want me to sell, I'll sell it. So.
And can you explain a little bit, in case people are interested? People might be listening. They're like, "Oh my god, I have boxes that I just can't move. Like, maybe I could send it to this guy." Can you explain a little bit, like, your rates? I know you said that your rates aren't great until you hit like the $5 and up, and then it starts to get a little bit better. But can
Yeah,
you
for
explain
sure.
that for people?
Yeah, so under $5 it's dark. Yeah, so the main reason under five, well, there's two reasons under $5 is really dark. Is the main one's just time consuming. 99% of cards are like under $5. So I mean, it takes a lot of time dealing with those cards. But at the same time, TCGPlayer Direct, which is where I sell most of my modern singles, they actually take a 50% fee when I sell something on TCGPlayer Direct for a card
Oh,
that's under $3. So in order for me to also get profit,
yeah.
I need to charge a pretty solid rate under $3 and under $5 as well, just to make it make sense. So the rates are pretty dark under $5, but there's still people who use it. There's still people who are happy. I mean, sometimes it's better than nothing. It's better than taking bulk rates from other people. I have people who send me some vintage bulk, and they only get 10, 15, 20% of the sales, but I mean that's better than selling it as bulk. So there's still money to be made. But yeah, above $5 it gets a lot better. If you're selling high end cards above $250, like I only charge 5% for my services. You still have to pay TCGPlayer fees. You still have to pay shipping, all that. But as far as just my services go, I only charge 5% on 250 plus. And if you're selling really really expensive stuff, TCGPlayer caps the fee at $50 for their fee, and then the processing fee is still like 2% or 3% or whatever it is. So, I mean, there's ways to use my service and make some good money. But yeah, if anybody wants the full breakdown of all my fees, feel free to send me a message and I'll send you my rates. I have a little picture that just kind of goes over everything, and I can explain it further in the DMs. But
Okay, cool.
one other thing to say real quick before we get off the consignment topic. I am able to sell cards for a premium on TCGPlayer. So like I said, most of my modern is sold on direct. If you guys have ever used TCGPlayer, you probably, the first price that pops up on almost all modern cards is the direct price. It's almost always higher than the low list. Direct does fetch a premium. People value getting everything in one package, only dealing with one person, and international customers are able to order from direct as well, which that's something they can't order from regular sellers most of the time. So sometimes there's really rare scenarios where I could sell a $5 card for $15. Sometimes it's pretty close. I mean, it varies. I've sold some Moonbryons for a $200 premium. I've sold, there's if you spend the time to look on TCGPlayer, you can find the premiums. Send them to me. I'll sell them for you. And not everyone has access to direct because you have to be hitting certain thresholds, and you have to remain 98% accuracy to stay within direct. So you have to be on top of what you're doing. So
Okay.
there is chances to make extra profit. Like I've had a few people send some cards and they actually netted like more than they would have if they sold them themselves, even after my fee. But that's rare. That's not every card for sure.
Right.
But that's my rant on that. Feel free to change
So
subjects. Yeah.
staying on top of all 4 accounts and everything else, with the streaming and everything coming into play as well, I think I heard you mention in Discord yesterday that you either have contractors or potentially employees that also help with some things. Can you
Yeah,
explain to us kind of the Skya operation? Who's, how many people you have working for you, helping manage these things? How does that
for
work?
sure. Yeah, so I don't have direct employees. They're independent contractors. They fill out their own 1099s, all that stuff. But yeah, I've got one guy who's helping me out a ton. He handles most of my lower end shipping, and he handles a lot of the spreadsheet stuff. That's one of the things I've struggled with a lot. Is just this all the time I spend in spreadsheets, just figuring out how much to pay people for the consignments and just he's helped me with a lot of automating that and figuring that out. So I've got that main guy. I've got one person who likes to come over and buy and sell cards all the time, and he's always like, "Hand me a pile of cards to sort. Hand me a box. I'll pull your orders for you." So I've got one person who's like the main helper, and then I've got a few other guys who like to come over and help every once in a while. So I've got
Okay.
I've got help. It's not just me for sure, but I am doing a lot of work. So
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, and then
yeah.
adding streaming on top of that. Are you worried about the time investment and all of it with the everything that you're already doing, or you have a plan for that, or?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. I'm not used to streaming. You've only seen my face on YouTube a couple of times, so it's gonna be pretty new to me. Probably take me a few streams to get really comfortable and in the rhythm with everything, but I feel like I can handle it. I mean, shipping the orders will be just handling shipping for another platform that feels easy, and then live streaming. I mean, I really don't know what to expect. I mean, I don't know how popular Metazoo is going to be on Fanatics. It could be huge. I could be streaming a whole day my first day. I could be streaming 10, 12 hours. I could be streaming 2 hours. So I don't really know how to plan for how much time it's going to take, but
Right.
but I'm definitely ready for it. So
Nice, awesome. Have you been? Are you a Metazoo fan? Have you been into the zoo? Did you mess around with it when it was first coming out, before, or is Metazoo a new thing?
Metazoo is pretty new to me. I know it's a little weird that I'm going so deep in it all of a sudden, but no, locally there was no Metazoo. There was nothing for me locally, and nobody consigned it with me. So, as far as old zoo goes, a few months ago, I knew very little about it. The only things I knew is whatever Dan said in his videos. Like I would watch his Metazoo videos, even as he did like once a week, I believe. I would
Mm,
watch all of his Metazoo videos, even though I didn't know much about it. So I mean, I know like the history of it. I know the prices of what they used to be. But over the last few months, Dan sent me all of his old Metazoo to fulfill on his eBay. So I've actually learned quite a bit over the last few months. I did an audit on his entire Metazoo old inventory, and that kind of helped me see all the cards. I sorted some things. Sorted Seance Hollows. I sorted the UFO. I sorted a bunch of stuff, and that really helped get a feel for everything. I relisted some cards on his eBay, some auras that were pretty expensive. So I kind of got a feel for what cards are expensive and what cards were kind of cheaper as far as the old zoo goes. And then the new zoo, I haven't touched it yet. I'm going to be in the very near future. I'm going to be breaking open a bunch of product for Dan of new MetaZoo 2025 base set and posting the singles on his eBay. So I'll get my hands on that. I'll get a better feel for it, and I'll have a pretty good idea of pull rates and rarities and everything before I go live for my first rip stream on Fanatics. So
cool.
yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome. You mentioned that you not only run Dan's CCG player, but you also the singles or slabs, everything on his eBay as well. Is it all of the eBay or?
yeah, everything on his eBay. As far as I'm aware, he returned all of his consignments or he moved them over to Fanatics, so it is just his inventory. He shipped me at first. It was just MetaZoo singles, but then he kind of just shifted to just shipping me everything. I think he still has maybe 5 or 10 items that is at his location that if they did sell, he would fulfill them. I need to work out the details with him on if he's gonna delist those or whatever. But 90% of his eBay inventory I have at my location, and I'm fulfilling it all. Yeah.
Are there any like major differences between utilizing eBay and TCG Player for sales? Like what are some of the big, like, do you like one platform over the other? Have you used them enough that you've developed a preference? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. So As far as right now goes, eBay has ESC tracking. So for orders under $20, you can get tracking on an envelope. That is huge. TCGPlayer does not have that yet. They're kind of like hinting towards maybe adding it next year, or maybe it was, I believe it was next year is when they put it in their I can't remember the word they put, the timeline or whatever for their future. So I definitely like selling cards under $20 on eBay a lot better. You're a lot more protected, but at the same time, it takes time to add pictures for those. So like TCGPlayer, you don't need pictures at all. I can list a card on TCGPlayer in a few seconds. eBay, I got to take pictures. I got to do some typing. It's definitely more time consuming. So I focus eBay for multi-quantity cards. So if I have 5 plus, 10 plus of the same card that are under $20, I would definitely shift towards eBay. But TCGPlayer has its perks too. Like I said a little bit earlier, direct. If a card is on direct, I often sell it for premium. So I mean, I could sell a $2 card for $4. I could sell, a $3 card for $5. Random examples, but that premium does come into play. So it's really just finding the perfect combination, checking both websites, and seeing what makes the most sense. So
Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. Let's see. If someone were to be coming into this hobby right now during this boom and they're like, okay, here are the major platforms. I have a bunch of singles. Should I list on TCGPlayer or should I start my own eBay account? And if they decided on one or the other, let's start with TCGPlayer. What sort of advice would you give like a first-time seller on TCGPlayer to make it so that they're more successful out the gate?
yeah, definitely. So TCGPlayer is one that's a little harsh on new people, at least for their first 51 sales. Once you get more than 51 sales, you get a lot more freedom. You become a level 4 seller. So if you wanted to start on TCGPlayer, I would say expect to lose money on your first 51 orders. Just sell some junk, get it out the door, and get past that to level 4. And then you have the freedom of setting your own shipping prices. You have a lot more options available to you. So I would say just fly past those first 3 levels as fast as you can. And other than that, I would say place some orders from really reputable sellers. Find sellers with 50,000, 100,000 feedback. You can see the little icons on when you're searching up the cards. You can see the people who own an actual physical brick and mortar. You can see their feedback. I would say place 10 cheap orders, dollar card, from 10 different reputable sellers, and see how they're packaging their cards and try and replicate that. You need to be professional. You need to get things accurate, or else you're going to have a lot of problems, because a lot of people avoid new sellers because some of the packages I've got are just wild. I was getting things covered in tape, no top loader, bent.
Tape gang.
I have to pay $5 upcharge because they put like 10 top loaders in an envelope and you're only supposed to put maybe 1 or 2, so like I would say invest time, learn how to do things correctly, get to level 4, and then the platform becomes amazing after that. It's really an amazing platform for selling singles for sure. So
I've always heard that the back end of TCGPlayer is kind of a pain in comparison to eBay. Is that true? What is the situation with TCGPlayer? What makes it kind of a pain in the back end?
yeah, it's definitely outdated. And recently, within the last year, they actually rolled out a new version. You can still, there's a little panel, a little thing you can select if you want the old version or the new version. I'm actually still using the old version. I don't like their new version.
Yeah.
I don't think they did it right. Maybe that's just me. I've heard other people are using it, but I believe, like I said, I don't think they've set any exact dates or anything, but I remember if you watched their Gamma presentation, I believe in their timeline they said 2026, maybe 2027. They were planning on completely redoing the back end, and as it is right now, you're not able to ship through TCGPlayer. You have to use a third-party program. You have to use Pirate Ship or Stamps.com or one of these other programs just to ship your orders. You're copying, pasting addresses, and so I believe they're trying to get that fixed 2026, 2027, somewhere around there, to where you can actually do it on TCGPlayer, and that will be huge. But as it goes right now, it's a little clunky, and I think the biggest thing for me is just they don't give you enough reporting options, so you can't see, like, there's a lot of things that I would like to be able to see, and I have to use like really awkward ways just to get them into a spreadsheet. Like when I do consignments, I can't get that math on the back end of TCGPlayer. I actually have to like scrape data from my emails of the cards that sell to get them into a spreadsheet, and then yeah, it's pretty clunky, but it's still an amazing platform, and there's still a lot of money to be made on there. So I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't let the back end stop you from selling on their website or anything like that.
If someone new came up and asked you, where should I start, TCG Player or eBay? Would you have it like a absolutely this place, or would you be like, you should start, growing both platforms, or what do you think there?
Yeah, it's kind of tough. It really depends on what cards they have. I mean, I don't know if they have vintage, if they have modern, if they. I'd say if it's like vintage, older stuff, maybe eBay, because then you can do pictures. You've got the tracking on your sub $20 orders. You've got a lot more protection. Customers won't be as picky on condition when they can see pictures and everything. But if you're just selling modern, if you're okay with a little bit of risk on sub $20 orders and sending them PWE, I mean, if it was me, I would start on TCGPlayer. But I mean, it really just depends on how comfortable everybody is with there's a little bit more risk selling $20 and less orders on TCGPlayer. You're forced to refund those if the customer says they're missing. So there's more risk, and like I said, yeah, it just really depends on what cards they have. But I think
Okay.
both of them have great opportunities, and I don't think you can go wrong either way.
Okay. Here's one. I kind of took it from you ever see those videos? I forget which place does it. Maybe it's like Variety or something like that. And it's like 5 things that this celebrity couldn't live without. So I have a question. What items or devices would you consider essential for optimizing your workflow selling singles on TCG Player?
Yeah, okay, that's a good question. I did not prepare for that. Sorted inventory is definitely one of the most important things. Getting these tall dividers, making sure you have everything labeled. That's really important. Penny sleeves, top loaders, all really important things that you can't go without. Card sorting tray. I would back when I used to do this without one of those, it was terrible. I mean, card sorting trays are amazing. Um, like some kind of Dymo shipping labels, just being able to print that right out, throw it right on the envelope, especially if you're using eBay, just printing that and putting it right on the envelope. Don't waste time handwriting that stuff. That's crazy. Um, yeah, I mean, if I had a little bit more time to prepare, I probably could have built a solid 5 for you, but
No, that's
but
fine.
I
You're
feel
good.
like I got close to covering
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So you don't have to provide images on TCG Player. So I'm assuming you don't have one of those like scanners, like card scanner situations.
No, no. So one of the guys that helps me, I actually did buy him one of those, and we used that just to get the cards into a spreadsheet to get on the platform. But as far as uploading pictures on actual cards, I don't do that. At 99.99% of the time, I'm not uploading pictures. Like there's very few times where I am. Like recently, I uploaded pictures of a Moonbryon because like it was right on the border of light play and mod play, and I didn't want anybody complaining. It's a high end card.
Right.
I wanted them to see exactly what they're getting. But outside of that, I'm not using pictures basically at all on TCG Player. So.
Is that just normal at this point with TCG Player? Do you get messages from anyone who's like, "Hey, can I see pictures of this card?" Or is it just kind of normal at this point on TCG Player that like you're just not really going to get pictures?
Yeah, so I mean, I sell a lot of cards, so I'm getting messages from a lot of people. I actually spend a lot of time just responding to messages. So I get people who I'm their first person they've ever shopped from. Um, I get a lot of questions. I get people asking me for pictures, and if it's a $50 plus card, like yeah, I can give you a picture, but again, TCG Player's back end doesn't even allow us to send pictures on TCG Player. So I would have to actually go off platform, send them an
Oh
email
shoot.
with pictures or something like that. So it
Yeah.
it's it's pretty hard to do. And TCG Player actually, like earlier this year, late last year, they actually asked sellers to not use emails even for receiving and sending pictures. So it's like really awkward. I have no way to send and receive pictures at all anymore. So I don't really offer that at all.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I feel like TCG Player's been around so long that at this point, there's always a new people popping in though and
Yeah.
wanting to buy stuff and wanting to make sure the stuff's in the condition they ask for. And I do have a question about conditioning. What percentage of returns are condition based, do you think, on your store?
For sure, yeah. So I actually spent a lot of time reconditioning and learning conditions, and early or mid last year, the direct program, which is where I get majority of my sales, they actually did a purge of the sellers, and they made it to where it used to be you were allowed to have as many misses as you want. You could, if you sent a card that was mod play and it was supposed to be near mint, whatever, they'll charge you for it, but whatever. Sometime mid last year ish, they made it to where you have to be 98% accurate. So I'm pretty strict on my conditions. I feel like the guidelines that TCGPlayer, and they worked with some sellers, they worked with Mason Cardinal Gaming, they worked with a bunch of people to really get these condition guidelines fleshed out and understood by everybody. And I feel like I've got a pretty good understanding of them. And with majority of my sales being on directs, I don't deal with the customers when they sell on direct. So TCGPlayer just tells me if it doesn't match their conditions or not. So majority of my stuff is good, but I do fulfill some orders directly to customers, and I get some complaints, but it's not that bad. Usually it's a pretty cheap card. I just send them a refund, let them keep it, and if they start causing problems, I will block them, but I'm not like Dan and some of these other sellers where they just block everybody.
Block immediately.
Yeah, I'm not that guy. I'd like to think I'm
you ask me a
pretty
question,
relaxed.
block.
Yeah, I'd like to think I'm pretty relaxed compared to some of these other guys. I mean, I see the memes in the discords, and they're just blocking these guys over little things. It's like, man,
Yeah.
I'm from a different market. I'm from a Yu-Gi-Oh market. Graded Yu-Gi-Oh. I used to do a lot of graded Yu-Gi-Oh, and there's not a huge buyer customer base. So it's like I don't want to block everybody and cut out half my buyers, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more nicer to my customers. I'm a little bit more forgiving. I'm a little bit more, you know, I'll work with them. But if they start, you know, if I see a pattern going on, then maybe I'll block them, you know.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I was talking to Mason actually. Was it yesterday or the day before? Monday, I think. I was talking to Mason, and he made it seem like, because I brought up the idea of why near mint? Like why don't they have a higher one that's like, you know, unplayed, pack fresh, something that's better than, you know, such a wide variety of conditions that near mint can encapsulate. And so I wanted to ask you, as a person who sells hundreds of thousands of cards on TCGPlayer, what do you think of that argument? Do you think that there should be a higher condition rating, or do you think that near mint and down is fine?
It's so tough. That's such a tough question to answer. I mean, I could understand the need for it. I mean, near mint is a very wide amount of conditions, especially like the sellers that aren't on directs. Near mint could mean anything. You could get, I mean, it's not as prevalent in Pokemon, but if you go buy near mint Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I mean, most of these sellers are sending you stuff that are covered in scratches on the back. The front looks amazing. It's great for playing, but the back's just covered in scratches. So I totally understand like the need for it, but at the same time, it's so hard to consistently do. Like, I could see myself being super picky, pack fresh stuff only, like really clean stuff, and people still finding problems with it because it's labeled as mint. So it's like I think Mason said unplayed was
Unplayed, yeah.
what he would word it. I think that's what he said. That makes a lot more sense to me, because then it's like, okay, there's no problems from me. This card came from the factory. If there's something wrong with it, it's only from the factory. That makes sense to me. That would make sense. But will TCGPlayer ever do that? Probably not. I don't really see them changing. They've already, every time they make a change to their conditioning standards, they kind of get a lot of like pushback, and like it's a big thing. Like a lot of people, I mean, I have over 100,000 cards posted. If they change something, I have to go redo 100,000 cards. So it's like,
Yeah.
It's a big thing to change this late into the game. I mean, I've been selling on there for 10 plus years. So
Yeah,
you know,
true. If
those
they
changes are
all of a sudden change, well, I mean, you already
Mhm.
went through a change to their conditioning standards. It sounds like if they
Yeah.
added a whole new conditioning thing, you definitely would
Yeah.
want to change it, because you'd want people to know if a card was, you know, unplayed or whatever. But yeah, that sounds like it would be a lot for sure.
Yeah, it'd be a lot. Yeah.
But sticking with the condition topic, I know when Dan made his sourcing video about buying on TCGPlayer, one of the steps that he included was the using the optimize feature when you're buying, so optimizing like where you're getting the cards from
Optimizing
and
the
stuff.
cart. Mm-hmm.
And then also, which this was very interesting to me, but he removed direct sellers. Um, What's the reason do you think that Dan seems to think that there is a higher likelihood of getting better condition items from non-direct sellers?
Yeah,
Is there
for
a reason
sure.
for that?
Yeah, I could definitely see some reasons. So how the direct program works is cards under a certain price threshold are just sent to direct unsleeved. So I am sending. I was telling you earlier before we went live. I pulled 800 cards for my next direct return invoice, or my next RI. I pulled 800 cards. I have to send all those unsleeved to TCGPlayer, which feels pretty weird to me. I'd rather send them all in penny sleeves, but it makes sense in their processing time. So I'm sending them 800 cards unsleeved. Now I'm doing it in a pretty professional way. I'm putting them in team bags, graded team bags. They're pretty big. They fit about 100 cards each. So I mean, they're getting to them in a pretty decent way. But at the same time, that's 100 cards that are being handled by me unsleeved, handled by them unsleeved, and then after they confirm the conditions and the quantities, then they put them through a Roca, and then they have another employee put all those cards in their boxes. So these cards are being handled 4 or 5 times unsleeved by people. So it's like a lot of things can happen between the robot, the Roca sorting machine, and the 4 or 5 people that touch them. So I mean, it makes sense. And one thing, I mean, I love TCGPlayer. I don't want to like throw shade at them, but one thing they need to do is they need to audit their own inventory. Like they made us, the sellers, audit our stuff. They want us to have a 98% accuracy. I've gotten some really questionable cards from Direct. I mean, I've gotten some cards that I can't even sell as mod play from buying near mint on Direct. So hopefully that's something they improve on in the near future. Love the platform. I have gotten PSA 10s from Direct. It's not impossible. You can get good stuff from there, but I understand the concern Dan has. And buying straight from sellers, a lot of people, you know, we're so deep in the space, we think everybody grades everything, but a lot of these sellers, they don't grade anything. They're getting pack fresh cards. Ooh, I just got this awesome pull. I'm going to sell it on TCGPlayer and make my money back. You know, a lot of people are selling pack fresh gem mint contenders candidates. So
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense for what Dan's saying. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing too that I think people hype up a little too high for collecticons is I feel like people just say like, oh, if they're selling at a collecticon, if they're selling raw at a collecticon, then it's been pre-graded. And it's
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
a lot of local stores get tables at collecticons. It's not all, you still see the same people like Pokemon Network and all the really big places, but a lot of the places are local shops. And a lot of those local shops like Mason doesn't really
Yeah.
grade either.
I was actually just thinking that. Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of those local shops don't grade either. So you definitely can still find, mint PSA 10 worthy cards, even at collecticons where you assume that they're all like, very professional and everything's pre-graded and everything's, X, Y, and Z. There's definitely still opportunities there as well. So it sounds like it's similar in the TCGPlayer side of things.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
So we talked a little bit about what TCGPlayer could potentially improve upon to make the experience better. Is there anything else you don't feel like we touched? Like what do you like? What's like the number one thing you're like, man, would you please just fix this?
Yeah, I think maybe not myself, but everybody else. Like nine out of 10 of the posts I see in the groups I'm in, the TCGPlayer seller groups, and all these, everybody wants ESE tracking. They want tracking on cheap orders. I think that's the number one thing they need to bring. eBay bought out TCGPlayer a long time ago, and everybody thought it was going to come like immediately, and it's
Yeah.
still not here. It's still not here. It's been a pretty long time. It's still not here. So I think that's number one. Number two, probably my number one, but most people's probably pretty low priority. But for me, I want more options for reporting. I want to be able to. I want to put a TCGPlayer list in. I want to put it in a quick list, and I want to be able to track just those cards. I want to know how much just those cards sold for. So if I do a consignment, I don't have to go digging through 10,000 orders to find what these 100 cards sold for. I want to just be able to, like when you enter cards into TCGPlayer, they have programs called Quick List. They have a few different programs you can use, but when you put them into Quick List, it gives you this nice clean list of cards that you can put into a CSV. You can put wherever. There's no way to track it after you do that. You just put them in your inventory and it's just like whatever. I want to be able to track that, see what my actual sales are, see what my costs are on just those cards. I want more reporting options. That would make my business so much better. And if anybody's really good at coding or building things like that, like reach out to me. I would love to be able to just automate that because I'm spending way too much time in spreadsheets right now. It makes no sense for me. My
Yeah,
hourly is just dropping because of how much time I'm wasting in spreadsheets. So
especially if you have like you're saying like hundreds of thousands of cards, and when you
mhm.
have like hundreds of orders every week, like right now, I might get I don't even know. I might get like 100 orders in a month when it comes to like the graded flips that I'm doing. That's a lot easier to keep track of on a spreadsheet
Yeah.
than your like 1,000 orders in a week, you know?
Yeah,
So it's
definitely.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it would be really nice if some of that could be sorted out for you. That would be much, much easier. Let me catch Grimer's question here. I assume he's talking about if TCG Player offered some sort of scanning device that conditioned the cards for you. Um, Basically, like, would you pay for something like that if it was, let's say, like $1,000 or something? Like, or how much
Yeah,
would you pay for
we're
something like
doing
that?
the tag pod, but instead of
Kind of.
tag grading, it's just condition checking. I mean,
Yeah.
that would save me time. I would buy it. I mean, I don't know if you're memeing, if you're being serious. I would buy it. Yeah. I mean, how much I would pay, I guess it depends on how accurate it is. If it can if it consistently stay within the 98% threshold that I need to maintain, I'd use it all the time. I'd use it every day. I mean, I would run that machine into the ground. So I mean, I'd probably pay more than whatever you're thinking for it, but
Nice.
it would have to do a really good job. I mean, I would be auditing it the first 5, 10, 20,000 cards I put through it. I'd be still double checking everything
Yeah.
before I felt comfortable putting those cards in my live inventory because if you like direct is really it can be really punishing when you send the wrong condition. Like they'll make you buy the next cheapest card on direct to fulfill that order that you were supposed to fulfill. So it's like
Oh,
if I sell a card for 5 and the next cheapest is 8, well, I just lost $3 there, and I have to sell it again at a lower condition whenever I get it back. So I need to be really, really strict. So I mean,
yeah.
if it could actually be 98% accurate or better, I would run that thing into the ground for sure.
Nice. Uh, let's talk about Japanese because that's the bulk of what I do. Basically, is obviously I don't sell a TCG player, but Japanese was announced fairly recently. Um, Actually, how long has it been on there now? A few months at least.
Yeah, it feels like maybe 6 months or something like that. I don't know the exact date off the top of my head, but yeah, Japanese has been amazing. I had before it got released on TCG Player, I had very little experience with Japanese Pokemon, and I started getting some consignments in of all Japanese Pokemon. There's one guy, I don't know if he wants to name out, so I won't say it, but there's one guy who sent me a really nice Japanese collection, a bunch of tag teams, a bunch of really good, clean stuff. I'm hoping he pre-graded and graded some of it because it was pretty nice. I didn't grade any of it, but it's like, man, there's probably some plays here. But he
Yeah,
sent me some really nice stuff, and the first batch he sent me, I listed it and everything sold, everything, all gone. Like I was I was shocked with how liquid it was, and I wasn't even I when I list cards on TCG Player, I don't list them at the lowest price. I like to list them at the lowest verified price. I don't need to compete with the brand new sellers because I have 70,000 feedback. So I'd like to think I provide extra value. You're going to get your cards, and if for some reason it goes missing, I'm going to take care of you. If
yeah,
you have an issue, I'm going to take care of you. I have 100% feedback. I'm going to take care of my customers. They're going to get their cards. So I charge a little bit of a premium for that. And even with that premium, all my Japanese sold. All my consignment, the first batch sold. The second batch is flying off the shelf. It's already almost gone from that specific consigner. And I've had other people send in some, and so far it's all done really well. The only thing I would say is bad about TCG Player Japanese is they only have pictures on maybe the last like
oh,
5-ish years of
like the
Pokemon
thumbnail
Japanese.
photos.
Yeah, it's just stock photos. Yeah, so if you go really far back, some of those cards have no pictures, and like they're probably not going to sell that fast if people can't even see what they're buying. So I would say my only downside is TCG Player needs to get on top of just uploading those pictures and getting those done. But if it's
Yeah,
modern within the last 5 years, it's got a picture, it's liquid. I mean, I'm very impressed with how fast they sell for sure.
yeah. One of the things I ran into was, well, I mean, before they added the Japanese, people just started listing other languages in with the English, which was really annoying because then it would screw
Yeah.
up the TCG player like price essentially that would
Hmm.
pop up. Um, But honestly, I could still because people still list Korean and Chinese in with the English. especially with Chinese cards like coming out and becoming more popular in Pokemon. I definitely have run into at local shows. People have priced all of their raw cards, but they've priced it just based on the TCG player price. So it's like I'm picking up $35 cards for $25 because they priced it to the Chinese one or the Japanese one instead. So yeah, definitely there are some, if you're paying attention, you can grab some stuff like that. But it was nice that they lifted all of those Japanese cards out and put them into their own category. I'm sure it was really nice for you too.
It was amazing. Yeah, a lot of those cluttered. What's really frustrating about those listings is like I'm probably on page 2 or 3 now, or at least at that time when these were really prevalent.
Yeah.
I'd be on page 2 or 3. You'd have to dig a pretty far ways to find me. But now most of those have been purged and removed and moved over to Japanese. TCGPlayer still needs to do a lot of work going in and manually forcing some of these sellers to move these. A lot of these sellers just left them there and they're double dipping. You know, they've got the Japanese listing and one under the English listing, but with the picture. So they need to go in and clean up a bunch of that stuff. The sealed product, they need to go in and clean up a bunch of the junk. You know, there's a lot of things TCGPlayer really needs to improve on to really optimize the platform, like prismatic evolutions. Like if you look at like ETB, like the first 2 pages are like, oh, this is the dice from there, this is the sleeves from there, and it's like, bro, I'm trying to find the sealed ETB. What are we doing here? Like, these items have their own separate listing on another part of the website. Why are they here? TCGPlayer really needs to go in and purge those. I see a lot of complaints in the groups that I'm in about those things just clogging things up. So hopefully they purge those. Hopefully they add Korean and other languages, a place for all those to be not on the English listing. That would be nice. But then that would stop you from getting your snipes, your good deals, you know. So I mean,
hey, that's okay. So, if it if it helps a lot of sellers, less headaches for them, I'm all right.
Yeah,
I can handle it. So you sell a bunch of different games. It's not just Pokemon. It's not just Yu-Gi-Oh. It sounds like you sell pretty much anything that sells decently well on TCGPlayer. You said Lorcana and One Piece you talked about, I think, and Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon and pretty much everything. So I'm curious, what are some of the, apart from Pokemon, let's say apart from Pokemon, because I'm sure that is the best-selling game on TCGPlayer, so we'll just skip that. What are the other best-selling games on TCGPlayer, and rank them in terms of liquidity?
Liquidity, okay, yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I guess it really depends on how specific we go. Like, if you're just talking just all of Yu-Gi-Oh, it's not liquid at all. But if you're talking modern Yu-Gi-Oh, it's insanely liquid. But I would say, you know, skipping Pokemon's way up here. Magic's probably number 2. I don't deal with a ton of Magic, but when I do get Magic, it is crazy how fast it sells. I just had a really big consignment. Really awesome guy. I've only worked with him once so far, but he just sent me his second batch, and that stuff's just flying off the shelves. I mean, it is crazy. I'm not low list at all. Like I said, I'm pressing that very high. So Magic's definitely still a very popular, very liquid game. One Piece, I feel like it's very liquid right now. Will that remain forever? I don't know. A lot of people thought it wouldn't last past the first few sets, but I mean, it just keeps going and going. So yeah, I feel like Magic, One Piece, and then like modern Yu-Gi-Oh is like, it's definitely liquid, modern Yu-Gi-Oh. But you get into the vintage, you get into the old stuff, it gets a little dark. But I do a lot of games. I mean, I have some really niche, slow selling stuff too. I do, you know, Vanguard, White Shorts. I do whatever cards are on TCGPlayer that I can sell. Those games are definitely nowhere near as liquid, but they sell, and they sell for good prices. So,
and I know someone's gonna ask, but Lorcana?
Yeah, no, Lorcana is really good. I would say the playables and the enchanteds do really well. There's some like niche, weird stuff that sells pretty slow, but I'd say majority of the cards from the modern sets, yeah, they're going to sell pretty fast for sure, especially if you're on top of the pricing. You might not be able to get as good of a premiums, like if you're a more reputable seller. Like I try and get a premium on most of my games. Maybe Lorcana, I'm leaning more towards low list and just getting them sold, but they sell pretty fast. Yeah, I'd say that's top 5, maybe top. It was probably more liquid earlier. I feel like it's gotten a little bit less liquid recently, but it's still pretty good.
Gotcha. Okay. We'll clarify for Son of a Merc. So the 98%, I believe, is a rating that TCGPlayer gives you on the cards you send in. Is that correct?
Yeah. So if I send them
accurate condition description.
Yes. So if I send them 100 cards, at least 98 of those cards have to be what I said they were. They have to be first edition or unlimited, whatever. They have to be reverse holo or regular holo. They have to be exactly what I said, and they have to be in the exact condition I said. I'm only allowed 2 mistakes for every 100 cards. As far as what the other 2% is, every once in a while I'll make a mistake. I'm human. Maybe I'll list first edition as an unlimited. Maybe I'll list a near mint card and they say it's light play. Maybe I missed something, so and every once in a while you just straight up can't find a card. Like maybe I was in quick list and I changed the quantity to 8 when it was supposed to be 7. Every once in a while, I'm human. I don't have a bunch of Rokas doing everything for me. I don't have a bunch of robots, so I make mistakes, but I try. I've built in multiple layers of double checking that stops majority of that. But yeah, most of it's just few condition issues here and there, a few cards missing every once in a while, and for Yu-Gi-Oh, maybe I actually did unlimited instead of first edition because they still do that on modern cards. So
Has there been a successful so eBay bought TCG Player. What was it, last year or 2 years ago or something like that?
Yep, it feels like close to 2 years now. I could be wrong. Yeah, it's been a while.
Is there a successful way to cross list on eBay and TCG Player?
Yeah, that's actually one of my buddies was actually going really deep into that recently. He's trying to build something to do that. There is programs. There's Crystal Commerce, I believe is what it's called. It's a program. It costs money, and they sync your eBay and your TCG Player and whatever your selling platforms are, Shopify or whatever. They can sync all that inventory. But one of the main concerns about that, and it might not be as big of a deal in Pokemon, but in Yu-Gi-Oh, it's a huge deal. Their inventory isn't refreshed automatically. So say a card gets bought out and it goes from $20 to $50 in a day. If I have that posted on eBay and TCG Player, people are going to buy them from me in both at the same time, and I'm going to oversell for a card that I only have one of. I got to post it in 2 different places, 1 copy each. But since it doesn't automatically refresh, I think it used to refresh like once every 15 minutes. Maybe now they've got it down to like every few minutes or 5 minutes or whatever it is. It causes a lot of oversells. And in Yu-Gi-Oh, buyouts happen all the time. The meta is always changing. Every card is legal in Yu-Gi-Oh except for the ban list. But like I can play cards from 2002 today in modern Yu-Gi-Oh. So new decks come out. Some crazy combo happens at a big tournament. Card gets bought out. I've seen cards go from $1 to $80 overnight. Phoenix Cluster Amaryllis, one of these cards that I just had a bunch of. Card went from literally $1 to $80, selling like crazy. And if you use Crystal Commerce or one of these programs, like I would have sold 10 on eBay for $1 and 10 on TCG Player for $1, and I would have gotten 10 negative feedbacks because I can't fulfill 20 orders when I only have 10 cards. And a lot of people are really like, they think I'm the bad guy. They think, oh, he's just going to repost those for $80. He's all about the profit, but it's really just an oversell. I do not own these cards. I cannot fulfill them for you. So that's why I don't use programs like that because, for the first 5 or 10 years of my business, I was almost entirely Yu-Gi-Oh. So
yeah,
I was trying to avoid negative feedback. I like keeping my customers happy. So I don't use those programs, but they do exist. And hopefully they're being improved upon. And I've got a friend who's trying to build something to keep the refreshes instant, or at least as close to instant as they can be. So
how do you I assume you must just be plugged in to a lot of these games and like the playable, like what's playable, what's not and stuff, because how do you avoid someone buying all your that card you just said for $1 instead of the $80 what it costs, the quick shift, I assume that it is. How do you avoid that happening? Is that just you just got to stay on top of news and all that stuff and in different Discord groups and stuff to make sure that you're okay with it? Or do you get hit a lot in that way? How?
Yeah, for sure. So, there's multiple answers that majority of the time I just take the loss. I get a happy customer. Maybe he'll come back in the future. A lot of sellers won't fulfill those orders. I like to pride myself in being like, hey, you got one up on me. Good for you. Here you go. Come back and shop again, so I'm okay with it. Like I was willing to sell that card for $1. I listed it at $1. I'll fulfill it for $1. But at the same time, I am in multiple Discords. One of the Yu-Gi-Oh Discords I'm in actually has a market watch. They do everyone tags if something changes drastically. I get notifications if something like that happens. And another thing that I like to do with cards that I have a lot of is I do circuit breakers. So if I have 20 copies of a card, I'll only list 5 or 10. I'll have 10 in a spreadsheet somewhere in a backlog, and I'll wait to post those until the card does go up. And yeah, it's really just staying on top of it as best you can and fulfilling when it gets past you. And I while I'm shipping, I do a lot of shipping at my office, and I'll have a YouTube video on for most of my work day. So there's market watch channels for Yu-Gi-Oh. Pokemon, there is some, but it's definitely not as big of a thing because the meta doesn't change quite as often in Pokemon as it does in Yu-Gi-Oh. So I'm watching a lot of those videos, and they'll tell me what's changed, and I like to. There's a few people that whenever they post a video, I'll try and watch it within the first 30 minutes so I can kind of just be right on top of it. So yeah.
Okay. I realize we're like 50 minutes in, and I haven't even acknowledged that there is a chat here. So I'm going to Grimer. How's it going? Thank you for joining us. Vitalik, I still don't know how to say your name. What's up? How's it going? Son of a Merc is here. Spat just joined. Pullfather's here, and Ernie is here. I did have one other question in terms of Japanese that I realized that I forgot. What kinds of cards do you see do well in Japanese? Are like the couple dollar ultra rares, do those do well, or is it mostly like the $20 and up, like kind of the more chase types of cards?
No, definitely the yeah. I'd say cards $2 to $20 are just insanely liquid. I cannot keep them in stock. Once you get above $20, some of that stuff gets a little slower to sell. But I mean, I've listed I don't know Japanese names, but the Journey Together, whatever that set is in Japanese, I listed a bunch of that stuff and it was gone. I mean, it was gone. It's here I got a stack.
I feel like it is Journey Together in Japanese. Is it?
Yeah,
no,
whatever this set is.
Battle Partners.
Whatever this set is.
Yeah.
I listed all this stuff and it was gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I feel like cards like $2 to $20-ish, those are definitely more liquid. There's a lot more buyers out there for those cards just because they can afford it. Once you get above $20, I'd say they're still pretty liquid, but maybe not quite as fast. The tag team stuff I was selling, that stuff was crazy liquid. That stuff sells really fast. I don't know. I feel like if it's popular in English and you could get it for cheaper in Japanese, a lot of people are choosing that option. So I mean, anything like that is definitely a viable option for sure.
Yeah. Okay, we have some questions from the chat. Grimer has one. How often do you audit or reprice your inventory? Is it automated at all?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, so I have multiple ways of updating my prices. When you're a pro seller on TCGPlayer, you have to pay an extra fee to be a pro seller, which I am. I pay an extra fee to get it. There's a program called Mass Price, and there's a lot of different rules that you can use to update your inventory. I can choose what time I want to update my prices. I can choose how many times a day I want to update my prices. I can update them by market price, low list, direct low. I can make it low list by 0.1 cents, just by one penny lower than low list. I can make it plus 10% of low list. I can make it plus 20% of low list. I can make it market price plus 50 cents. I can make it one of the things I do is I have a price floor. So on Yu-Gi-Oh, every single card in my inventory is 80 cents. I won't sell anything for lower than 80 cents. That's just a time thing for me. If I really need to generate some sales, I'll lower it to 50 cents, 40 cents, whatever. But Pokemon right now, my floor is like 25, 50 cents. It kind of changes on how busy I am. So I use Mass Price for all of that, and I have scheduled price updates every day through that. And
so you literally click some buttons and you can make your entire Pokemon inventory all low list, like 1 cent less than low list.
Absolutely. One button. Yeah. And I don't even have to click that button. Yeah.
Get on
I don't have to click it. I can have it scheduled every day for the next month. I can have it happen at 5 p.m. every day for the next month, but then my cards would sell too fast. I don't want to fire sell everything. So I've got some things in motion to keep it competitive, reasonable, but not everything's gone in a day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I use that, and then I have a guy who built me a spreadsheet who kind of does something really similar, but there's a few options on mass price that aren't available in the spreadsheet. Like I have a couple more kind of extra options there. I know Mason has said in one of his videos, I think I'm actually the one who brought up the question, but Mason, one of his old managers or something, he built a really in-depth spreadsheet for him to handle all of his prices, and he'll download all his prices, put them all in the spreadsheet, upload it, and it's still pretty instant. It's still pretty fast. But creating a backup just in case anything goes wrong, all that
Yeah.
stuff. So I've got those two things going for me to automate the prices, and then I'll kind of, with really expensive stuff, maybe I'll be a little bit more hands-on. Maybe I'll be manually updating that just to be safe. Because I mean, I don't know how close you guys keep track of this, but maybe about a month ago, Moonbryon was getting manipulated. There was people selling them at $800 and like 30 sells on TCGPlayer and trying to tank the market price. And like, I don't know if they were trying to take the market price so they could buy some in person, or if they were hoping that somebody undercut them and then they could buy it from them. I don't know what their goal was, but that happens on some of the really big cards. So you just got to be careful. One of the options you can do on one of the mass price things I have is if it would update the price by more than 50% or lower it by more than 50%, then it notifies me and it won't update it. So I'll get a notification. I can say, yeah, sure, go ahead, or no, don't do that. But it won't do it automatically. So there's ways to prevent that, but I still like to get a little more hands-on with the really expensive cards just in case,
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Thank you for the question, Grimer. Appreciate it. Ernie's got one. Sky, the people want to know how often you see cards worth skimming and grading.
All the time. I'm shipping a lot of PSA 10 cards out. I if I could, I would grade everything, but it's like these are consigners cards. I'd have to buy them from them. I'd have to explain to them I want to buy it from them, and it's just not a process that I want to get into. I just want to get their cards sold and be able to have. If they say, "Hey, how much did this card sell for? Can you prove it to me that it actually sold?" Like I want to be able to pull up an order and be like, "Here you go. It sold on this date at this time. Here's what TCGPlayer charged. I can send you a picture of that. Everything you need right there." I want everything to be as clear and legit as possible. So I'm not messing with grading other people's consignments or anything like that. But I am selling a lot of cards that's like, man, you should send this for grading. I don't know what you're doing, man. But
Yeah.
I mean, people rather quick cash, and PSA is what, a 4-month backlog now. So I mean, it makes sense. It's not like, I mean, they're leaving money on the table, but they're not. Like the liquidity you can do with that money in 4 months might be better than what you would get at PSA. So, it's not my thing to judge.
Do you think, because TCGPlayer doesn't do graded, right? Do some people? Oh, you good? Got it. I don't hear you anymore. What's happening?
Did I break it?
I hear you now, I think.
Oh, I hear you. I hear you. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know what happened. I can hear
We're
you.
good. I think we're good.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was curious if I don't feel like I've ever seen graded cards on TCGPlayer. Do you think that's something that they would ever get into?
Yeah,
PSA
there's
10,
people
PSA
that
9 of
there's people that have asked about it, and some people still post them, and like the nines, like when it's, I mean, there's a lot of nines that sell at the same price as raw. So I've seen people just literally just like, there's some new sellers that literally just ship a 9 and don't even explain it to their customer, and it's like, that's crazy to me. But I do see some listings with pictures that are graded cards, and I have seen some vintage Yu-Gi-Oh. There's a couple cards in vintage Yu-Gi-Oh that there's no listings at all for near mint, and I see a few PSA 10s on there, and every once in a while I see one sell for more than it would have on eBay. So I mean, it happens, but it's super like niche, slow. It's not optimized like it is on
there
eBay.
isn't like
sure.
a specific area for graded cards. It's just in the same listing section.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Paul Father's thinking about opening an OnlyFans and opening packs with his feet. Okay. I anything can happen, man.
Yep.
Paul Father ripped a Skyridge pack in Chicago. I saw the short of that. Had like 2,000. He got a big old hit out of it. I hope you grade that. He pulled an Articuno Hollow.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Pretty sick. Yeah, definitely grade that. Get back to us on what it grades. PSA did also raise the price again by $2. I think it's like $18.99 a card now, because I think it
Yeah,
was
that sounds
$16.99
right.
before.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
sounds right. Yeah, I haven't done an actual submission since they raised, but yeah, that does sound right.
I haven't done a submission in a long time.
Yeah.
We have Hoodoo's here, and the questions begin.
Oh, nice.
Do you ever offer on stuff you get in as consignment to just buy yourself? Well, you kind of mentioned that.
Yeah, I feel like I covered that pretty well. Maybe in the future I'll get into that, but for now I'm just keeping things selling. There's been a lot of things that I've been like, I should probably be buying this and grading it, but as
Yeah,
of right now, I'd rather just have a way for the customers to see that it's sold. I don't want them to think anything shady's going on in the back, and then it's like, do I message him and try and agree on a price with him? Do I just tell him this is what I would have sold it at, and then I pay him this amount? It gets a little bit of a gray area, and I just want everything to be as clean and professional as possible. So I'm not doing anything like that yet. Maybe like if I was working with Dan and he sent me some stuff and I needed to grade some stuff, maybe I would talk to him about it because I feel like I've got a better communication line with him. But yeah, nothing like that yet.
gotcha. Cool. Card Anonymous is the butthole that puts his PSA cards up there.
Yeah, on TCGPlayer, yeah, I can see that.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Card Anonymous. Pullfather did not open the Sky Ridge with his feet. That is true. Does your bulk mountain rival Mason's?
No, not even close. No, I've seen Mason's. He's a monster. I
Yeah.
I've said this to Mason multiple times, but I would love to take some of his bulk mountain from him. I would love to drive. I want to fly up there, rent a U-Haul, and just grab a ton of his bulk and just take it back to Idaho. I would
There
love
you
to do
go.
that. I think we've talked about it a little bit online, and maybe we talked briefly about it at Chicago, but maybe one of these days, Mason, let me get your Yu-Gi-Oh backlog. I know you got a nice little mountain piling up there. I know you're not doing much with it. But yeah, maybe one day I'll take some of his. But he's got me beat by a mile for sure. I mean, I've got a nice backlog. I've got piles of 5Ks. I've got piles of large flat rate boxes. But yeah, nothing compared to Mason.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I guess my the last little section of my questions that I have is about streaming. So you're going to be the third streamer of the Catch 'em All Collectibles brand alongside Ponga and PK. And it sounds like it'll be on Fanatics. It's not going to be on a separate platform. You're sticking with the Fanatics. And mostly, if not all, Metazoo. What sort of, let's see, are you nervous about it? Are you excited about it? Are you ready? Do you feel ready for it? What's going on there?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. I mean, I'm definitely nervous. I'm not much of a live streamer. I mean, you guys have only seen my face maybe 2 or 3 times on YouTube, but I'm feeling pretty good about it. I mean, I'm looking at the Metazoo market on eBay, and it looks pretty good. It looks pretty healthy. I'm seeing more people open Metazoo product than I would think was going to. I mean, I'm seeing TCA Gaming, I'm seeing Mason, I'm seeing a lot of people open it. Feels like it's already pretty widely accepted product. I don't know anything about the back end of Fanatics, but if PK and Ponga can handle it, I feel like I can too. I'm a little nervous, but I think after maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 streams, I feel like I'll get in the groove and really be able to handle it. And Dan did say publicly that we're trying out Fanatics first. We're going to see how everything feels. You know, it could fail. It could do terrible. I could be only live for 2 hours. It could do amazing. I could be live for 10 hours. We could give up on doing Metazoo on Fanatics. We could try eBay Live if we need to. We could try whatnot. I mean, this is all really just one big test for us, and just we're going to see how it goes, and hopefully it goes amazing. But if it doesn't, I mean, our expectations aren't super high or anything. We're just going to see how it goes and go from there. So I'm excited about it, though. I mean, I appreciate the opportunity Dan's given me. I appreciate all the opportunities Dan's given me. He's an amazing guy, really, really awesome guy, and hopefully I can do good for him, and hopefully the community enjoys it. Hopefully I can find a solid repeat customer base that likes Metazoo, and hopefully the prices we offer are competitive, and hopefully they get some good pulls. I hope it all works out. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, well, I'm excited. I haven't seen a whole lot of it ripped yet. I know Ray, Shiny Cards Collectibles, he's been ripping some boxes recently, and some other people have been opening some Metazoo. I got to open a little bit in Miami with Dan. Dan bought a case, and me and Spat were there, and we ripped a box with him, and it was very fun. The cards look really cool. So yeah, I'm excited for you as well. That should be really cool, really fun. Hopefully it does really well on Fanatics. And if not, I hope you guys figure out the right spot for it,
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I potentially will be starting streaming too at some point. So we're kind of in a similar
I saw your picture. I saw your thumbnail. It looks good.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'll be there. You send me a message. Send me the first stream date. I'll come join the chat. I'll hype you up.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
It'll definitely be interesting because I obviously the only platform I have available to me is Whatnot. So maybe Drip. If I reached out, Drip would probably be like, "Yeah, another content creator to get to sell on here." But yeah, I will be probably trying on Whatnot, seeing how it goes, just doing singles, and hopefully, similar position you're in. Hopefully it works out. Hopefully it's fun. Otherwise, I just have Chef keep doing his thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he'll keep doing his thing anyway. But all right. Have you been to shows, if there are any in Idaho? What's the buying like out there? So we talked a little bit beforehand. We didn't really talk in the
I was gonna say, I think that was before, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So no, Idaho is. I mean, we do have shows. We have. Gosh, I can't remember the name for it. It just happened last weekend, I believe. We have a card show. Like a few years back, it was almost entirely sports cards, but now Pokemon's really came out of its shell. There's a lot of Pokemon going on, and there is, like once a month maybe ish, a card show here. That's pretty cool. You can rent tables for $100, $150. There's one in Twin Falls, like a 2-hour drive from me. That's maybe once a month as well. That one's coming up in a week or two. So as far as card shows go, there's a few opportunities, but it's nothing amazing. For Yu-Gi-Oh, I've been to some Yu-Gi-Oh events. Collecticon, I mean, I haven't vented a Collecticon yet, but I helped one of the guys in the chat, Spat. I helped him vend for a little bit, and I'd like to think I did pretty good there. But as far as like outside of card shows, it's a little dark for Pokemon. There's no card shops that actually buy Pokemon singles in Idaho, as far as I'm aware. Maybe Twin Falls. I know there's a couple newer shops I haven't been to there. Maybe one's joined in on it recently that I'm not aware of. But as far as like long term, there hasn't been any real buying presence in Idaho for Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh singles. They'll sell sealed products, but singles, I have a lot of card shops that'll just send their people to me, or they'll just turn them away. So it's a little dark, but I mean, more business for me if they don't, I guess. So yeah.
Okay. Grimer, Bigfoot cosplay for rookie stream.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not much of a cosplaying guy, but I get you buy me the suit, Grimer. Maybe we'll talk.
We talked about this a little bit earlier, Ernie. I know you'll probably catch up at some point, but how you could possibly afford the time to stream on top of all your other business ventures.
Yeah, for sure.
He's got some help.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of help, outsourcing as much as I can, but really just optimizing everything I do has been my main priority. I mean, I've got the shipping. I feel like it's pretty optimized how I lay everything out. My hands are only moving as little movements as possible to get everything done. I've got it down perfectly. I feel like pretty close. I mean, maybe I can improve on something. Somebody else to help me find something to improve on in the future, but I feel like I've got it pretty optimized. I've got help. I mean, I'm making time and making it while the money's good. I mean, the market's booming right now. Pokemon's doing pretty good. I mean, maybe it's not as boomy as it was a month ago. I don't know, but I mean, it feels great. It feels very healthy to me, and just capitalizing on that while I can, making sure, get as far ahead as I can while the getting's good, I guess, and hopefully it stays forever. Like I said, I've been selling for 10 years, so even if it goes down, I'm still gonna be here selling cards. So
dude's got 70,000 feedback on his one of multiple.
Yeah, just on my account. Yeah.
So he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Benji's got another one. What are ways you plan to expand your business this year? Things you should do but aren't sure. Sounds like streaming is one of the big ones.
Yeah, I was gonna say, looking into streaming. might be mass ripping Metazoo. I mean, we're doing a test run. We're going to rip some Metazoo and post singles on Dan's account. But, if that goes well, if Metazoo does well, maybe the second set will really mass rip it and sell an insane amount of singles. That'd be something that would be fun to optimize. I've done some smaller scale mass rips, nothing like what Dan could potentially do with Metazoo, but and what he used to do with old Metazoo. He used to really mass rip. But yeah, things like that'd be great. Get more robotics, Roca, Fizzbatch, Magic Sorter. Those are all things that could improve my workflow. More office space. I have these shelves. I'm actually buying another set of the same shelves. I'm gonna throw the poles away, and I'm just gonna use the shelves. So I'll have twice as many shelves because I don't need this much space from here to here. Oh, I told you they were gonna fall. I told you before the stream went live they're gonna fall. But yeah, I don't need this much space. So I'm gonna put like another shelf here, more space to work in. I don't have a huge, crazy big office, so I'm just optimizing my space the best I can until I can get something bigger. So yeah.
Gotcha. Any plans to expand to an office space or a building?
Yeah, well, I was literally just kind of briefly mentioned that. Yeah, no, I would love to get a bigger office. I would like to buy a house with a much bigger office space. One of my friends in another state, I've been to his house, and he has this huge office, and he's got a big garage, and he's got a shed, and he's got it all optimized for cards, and it's just so impressive. And I would love to get something like that in the future for sure. Yeah, that's where I would like to go with it. An office inside of a house, a shed. He had it all. I don't know the words. HVAC, whatever, air condition controlled. Yeah. He had it all. Nothing was getting messed up. He had it all nice. So if I could get something like that, that'd be amazing. I don't think I would want like a brick and mortar store or anything like that. Maybe far future I go RNG games. How he has like a warehouse, but there's no like front door. People can't just walk in. It's not an actual open business. It's just a warehouse. Maybe I go some route like that. But that would be long term. Short term would just be buying a bigger house. So.
Yeah, you just need to buy a compound out there in the mountains. Just build a big like second, big warehouse, second building out in the forest, and yeah, get it going. The Yu-Gi-Oh compound.
Sounds good to me.
Let's see. What's up, Chef? How's it going? Welcome. Spats here. Skya took over my table and my sales skyrocketed.
It did, dude. It did. We were booming, bro. You went to go get that food, and we boomed, man. I was sending him texts like telling him all the sales and all the prices. Man, I couldn't keep. There was just another text. I was probably blowing his phone up while he's waiting in line for food. It was doing pretty good.
Yeah.
But no, it was a great time. Spat's an awesome guy. All the guys I met in Chicago, it was a lot of fun. Meeting you, I mean, everybody I met, it was an awesome time. It was a lot of fun.
It was super fun.
Yeah.
You kind of mentioned this, but why haven't you opened a storefront or office just to buy, since there aren't any other card stores in the area? It sounds like you have enough of a relationship with the other stores that they funnel people to you already. So
yeah, for sure. So I've got some middlemen who actually handle a lot of that for me. They go to locals every week, twice a week, 3 times a week. They go to the card shows. They do a lot of it, and I've been here for 10 years. Almost everyone knows me, so it's like, if you want to sell cards, you don't want to deal with eBay or whatever, just hand them to my friend, and he'll bring them to me, and I'll buy them, or maybe half of them, 25% of them, I'm comfortable with them just coming to my house and just selling to me directly. As far as not opening a storefront, we have in Idaho ABU, one of the biggest Magic the Gathering stores. I think they're like top 3 biggest Magic. I'd have to Google it. Maybe it's top 5. They're a huge place. It's an amazing card shop. I mean, there's an insane amount of space. I mean, I've been in some big card shops, and that one is definitely up there. It's huge. I mean, you can be hanging out on this side of the store, and then you can go over to that side of the store, and it's like a whole different thing. And so, I mean, as far as like a place for people to play and have tournaments and hang out, like that's already done here. Between that, I'm really good friends with all the card shop owners too. Like there's one in, I don't know, Meridian, Boise. I mean, I'm really good friends. I've known these owners for 10 plus years. built a good relationship with them. They'll bring me specific deals. I'll bring them specific deals. I feel like all the areas in Idaho already have a card shop. They don't need something new, and I wouldn't be able to provide anything exciting except for buying singles. And is that enough to pay my overhead for an entire location? I don't feel like it. Maybe if I go the warehouse route, like I said, in the future, maybe I get like one little section that has a front facing door that's open, 2-3 times a week. Maybe I do something like that. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know if I want to deal with people walking into my business and then I'd have to deal with security. I'd have to deal with, actually pricing inventory. I'd have to have glass displays. I'd have to, it's like, it doesn't feel like it's worth it to me. It feels like there's already enough being done in Idaho that I don't feel like I would fill enough of a gap to make it worth it for everybody. So
that makes sense. De-stress or burnout. So obviously you're working all the time. Do you have like work hours? Are you like, you get your weekends to yourself, or are you just constantly working? Do you take vacations? How do you de-stress? How do you keep from getting burnt out?
Yeah. So, I mean, I like to spend time with my daughter. I have a kid. I volunteer at her school sometimes. On Fridays, I do popcorn Fridays for her school. I go and make popcorn for all the classrooms. And now just spending time with my kids, spending time with family. Every once in a while, maybe once or twice a month, I'll play video games with Dan, and that's really fun. I used to, as a kid, I played video games every day, all day. But as busy as I am, I don't get to play video games that much anymore. So enjoying it when I can feels really good. And I don't know, I haven't had much burnout, really. I've been doing this for a very long time, and my business is like almost always, I mean, every year it's something new is happening. Every year it's improving in some way. Every year it's growing. So I really just want to see as far as I can get it and just keep going while I'm young and I have the ability to get it all done,
Yeah, I think I forget who. I've had way too many of these conversations in way too short a time at this point. I forget who said it, but the burnout question was asked, and they basically said that they don't feel like they've ever been burned out either, because there's always something new coming out. There's always a new set to look forward to. There's always changes and playability and all that stuff. There's always something happening to keep things fresh. I can imagine if like Pokemon died at WotC and you were like a WotC seller and you've been selling WotC for the last 15 years, you might be like, okay, I'm kind of tired of freaking WotC. But the fact that it's still hot, there's still new stuff coming out. The variety probably helps with keeping from getting burned out,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Let's see. Haven't done the numbers on Zoo base yet, but seems very EV to Rip from talking to HiveMind. Interesting.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. The numbers look pretty healthy on eBay right now. Feels
awesome.
Pretty good. I hope it stays that way. I hope the market stays healthy. I hope there's a lot of buyers and players. I hope they build a competitive structure. I think it was Mason's video with you. I think it was with you. He was talking about them. Maybe it wasn't you. Maybe it was when he did his live stream opening his box. He's talking about wanting them to have like tournaments and like Pokemon does the play program, Yu-Gi-Oh does the OTS program. Like he wants them to have something with stores where they can hand out product and have a incentive for players to play at their store. And I think that'd be really good if they could build some stuff like that.
Yeah. Charlie has a lot of ideas. We got to talk to him in Miami, and it was a very, very interesting conversation about. We got to hear a lot of reasons why they're doing certain things. It was funny. We were flipping through a binder of all of like the artworks and stuff, and Spat and I would stop on certain cards and be like, oh, that card's super cool, that looks really awesome. And Charlie would be over there, he'd be like, man, I'm so glad I'm not the person who's picking out the artworks, because I freaking hate that card. It's just a funny thing, like the variety and the subjectivity of artwork and what people are going to like is very different.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We talked about this a little bit, so we can answer the second part of the question, though. What are some of the pitfalls you wouldn't expect that you've faced getting started on TCGPlayer or selling on TCGPlayer? Is there anything surprise you that's like,
I mean,
shift and move and figure out to deal with?
Definitely probably, I don't know if it's a pitfall, but just making sure you're prepared for how many orders you're probably going to get bombarded with. A lot of people go into it, post a whole bunch of stuff, and then all of a sudden they have no idea how to fulfill 50 or 100 orders. I think that's something that can get pretty dark and pretty scary for new people. Pitfalls that I've faced, I mean, taxes are crazy. Make sure you're ready for that. Do everything above the board, pay your taxes. Pitfalls, I mean, I guess just be ready for some really upset customers. Some people just really want to make you the bad guy no matter what, and just don't let it get to you. Just stay positive and handle it the best way you can, and just keep going. I mean, don't let anything like that affect you. Just stay positive. I've had some pretty wild interactions, and sometimes it's just like, I'm just going to kill them with kindness, be as kind as I can, refund them, block them, escalate to TCGPlayer, make sure that they see what's going on. And it's like, man, I'm doing my best here. I feel like I got you your cards. They came in the condition that matched near mint under my understanding. Like, I did the best I could. I don't know what more you want from me. Just don't let those guys get to you. So
I can imagine with from what I know about the quick list, where you just kind of can basically like scan a card with a camera, and then it kind of just lists it very quickly. Well, that's why it's called quick. Duh. But yeah, I mean, I can imagine if you're going through and you list 1,000 cards, and all of a sudden you have 150 orders the next day, you're like, crap. So yeah, maybe take it slow before going all in.
Definitely.
Yeah, get everything figured out first. ABU's a Megastore. I've bought and sold a ton to them over the years.
Yeah, see, Grimer knows. Yeah, I think Grimer's the one I was talking to about some Magic cards at the Airbnb, I think, if I remember right. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm thinking somebody else. I'm pretty sure it was, but yeah, if you know Magic, you've heard of ABU, I assume. I mean, they're pretty big in the Magic community for sure.
Gotcha. What are some of those wild interactions, if you could expand on that?
Yeah, I mean, I've had some crazy ones.
Just stand out in the mind of like.
I mean, I'll try and block those out. No, I don't know. I've just people being insanely unreasonable. People tell me I'm the bad guy. People tell me I'm scamming them. Their order goes missing, and it's like, oh, this card went up $3. You're scamming me. You didn't ship it. It's like, what are we doing here, man? I'm not trying to get you over on $3. I don't know. A lot of people are just, they think they're absolutely right. They think everybody's out to get them. And it's just wild. I mean, anybody who does customer service in any way, I mean, I'm sure they've dealt with some wild people. There's some very interesting people out there, but definitely, just don't let them get to you. Keep doing your business. As long as you are fulfilling orders, the correct condition in a reasonable amount of time at reasonable prices, I don't think you're doing anything wrong. And like, I guess going a little bit deeper in that, like the whole scalping thing, like I've sold some sealed prismatic, I've sold some stuff like that. Some people like just attack you over things like that. It's like, man, I bought it for slightly under market. I didn't pay no MSRP. I don't got no distributor, like don't let those people get to you. People just, they get mad at everything,
Yep. Walrus, how's it going, man? We kind of answered this a little bit earlier. How does Skya grow from here? Basically, talked about streaming. We talked about how he's got some contractors and some helpers, and he's doing a lot of consigning and all that stuff. So we hit a lot of that earlier in the chat. If you want to go back,
for sure.
Maybe
I would say, I would say adding more robotics, Rokas, fizz batches, magic sorters, bigger location, more people helping me, and probably getting out of my comfort zone and showing people my face more, and getting more consigners to work with me is probably one way to grow a lot. But I mean, it's been pretty good so far, and Dan's keeping me busy, and the people in Dan's Discord are keeping me busy. I'm doing a lot of consignments for them. I've got a lot going on already, so I don't really need to grow and scale too much in the short term, but long term I've got plans. So I've got things that I'd like to happen for sure.
Okay, cool. Mason had a fun, kind of a good one / funny one. Which game has the worst buyers that love to complain the most?
I think Mason already knows the answer to this question. I think he knows it's Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm pretty sure. That was a rigged
Apparently, he
question.
said that they are the smelliest as well. That's what he said during our chat.
Yeah, no, I mean, Mason has said some harsh things about Yu-Gi-Oh players. I've met some amazing Yu-Gi-Oh players. I've met some really cool, really nice people in Yu-Gi-Oh, and some of the YCSs I've been to, and some of the big Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments and stuff like that. I mean, I've had very little issues directly with the Yu-Gi-Oh community, but I can see a person outside looking in. I can see how there's some shenanigans. I mean, they're definitely, the Discord talks and the memes are definitely, it feels a lot more childish. It feels a lot more immature. There's definitely a lot more shenanigans going on there, but they're still great people. It's still a good community for sure.
Yeah. What's up, Beerski? Welcome. All right. Start a podcast right now. Who would be your top 3 people you call? Java is not allowed to be an option. Wow. Okay.
Dan, TCA Gaming, Mason. Easy, done.
Boom. You got it. Everyone who's not included, too bad.
Sorry. I mean, if we get to go like, give me like a top 10, I'll throw in Grimer, Spat. I'll throw in. I could make a huge list.
Yeah,
Huge
yeah.
for sure. There's a lot of great people in this hobby for sure.
Definitely. Top 5 Pokemon, top 5 most overrated, and top 5 best. Oh, okay. So your personal top 5 Pokemon, just your personal favorite Pokemon. Doesn't have to be 5. Your personal most overrated Pokemon, and then your top 5 best-selling Pokemon.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not a huge top 5 guy. I'm not like super. I mean, I don't really have like a huge Pokemon collection or anything. But I guess just cards that are nostalgic to me. I guess if I'm allowed to choose cards instead of just
Yeah,
Pokemon,
go.
the cards would definitely be the city promo Charmander. That's one of my favorites. That was one of the first tournaments I ever won as a kid. Um, the state Charmeleon, or no, yeah, state Charmeleon. Those were some of my favorites. The Charizard not as nostalgic, but the city Charmander and the state Charmeleon, those are really nostalgic to me. The what is it? There's a Venusaur that's like a best promo. It said it has a winner stamp. That's one of my favorite cards. Other than that, I don't know. I really liked the EX series, just Pokemon from that era. I had a Blastoise EX deck, Melodic, Phoebus. Those were all really nostalgic to me. Really cool cards. The Charizard EX from, I believe it was Fire Red Leaf Green. That was one of the most expensive cards I'd ever pulled as a child. I sold it for $100 the same day I pulled it. The guy even threw in. I was big into, like I said, video games earlier. I was big into Dance Dance Revolution, and my mat had just broke. And this guy paid me $100 for the card. He took me to his house. He gave me his 2 extra Dance Dance Revolution mats. He gave me his video game. Like, he hooked me up for this Charizard. It was just an amazing day. This guy was really awesome. Really, really cool guy in the community. So yeah,
Awesome.
a lot of nostalgia around that era. Yeah, so that's as far as the tops. Those are where my mind goes to.
And then I'm assuming you might not have overrated, but top 5 best-selling Pokemon?
Best selling, definitely Charizard. I mean,
Of course,
Charizard.
because he's the best. All right,
Yeah.
Bierski, shut the hell up.
Yeah, Charizard, Pikachu. Man, any of the tag teams. You throw any of the tag teams at me, that stuff sells so good right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it changes with time, really. I mean, these new sets are just bringing out all this new crazy stuff, and there's always just new bestsellers for me. So I don't think it's anything that like always lasts, unless you're talking like maybe base set Charizard. I mean, I can sell those things anytime. So I don't know. I don't really have a clear cut answer for that, I guess.
Okay. Charizard was all we needed to hear.
Yeah.
We can,
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, we got Bierski laughing, of course. All right. If you guys have any more questions, put them in the chat. I do have a couple of things though, Skya. I don't remember if I sent you this DM or not, so this might be a complete surprise to you. So in these conversations, I've been asking for two things: one hot take, and one like positive experience you've had with people in the hobby, or that you've seen happen in the hobby, or anything like that. So if anything comes to mind, you can hit us with either first, because I didn't prep you. Hot take, preferably if you can, but positive after that.
There was no prep for this. You did not send me a DM. Just making that clear. Hot take. Hot take. I am terrible at hot takes. I know Oak's Discord has that hot takes channel. I have never posted in there. I am not the hot take guy. I like just going with the flow and just doing my thing. I like selling cards. I don't like making waves. I like just being consistent. If I had to choose a hot take, it would just be something that I saw in the Discord. I think my hot take, I think if you're putting in the time to vend at a CollectCon, at an event or something, I think you should take the time to put a price on every single item that you have on the table. I think you should be professional. I think it should be, you shouldn't be sitting there, oh, hold on, let me check my TCGPlayer. I think you should be a storefront. You should present yourself professionally. And yeah, that's my hot take. So
it's probably a hot take to a lot of vendors, but I completely agree with you 100%. Yeah. I will deliberately skip tables that are not priced because I do not have the time for that shit. It takes more time. It does suck as a vendor to price it all out, but it's worth it. Yeah,
it's definitely worth it. It makes you look more professional. And I've seen people, their defenses are, well, the market changes every day and all this, but you need to be a professional manner. You need to have like prices on everything. People are just going to skip right past you. They're not going to want to sit there and wait for you to look up prices on 10 cards. You're going to get more sales. You're going to look more professional. You're going to get more repeat buyers, more repeat sellers. You're going to get, you're just going to look better. And in some games in Yu-Gi-Oh, if there's a Yu-Gi-Oh event that's an official sanctioned event, you have to have a price on every single item. If you're a vendor, you cannot sell something unless it doesn't have a price on it at a Yu-Gi-Oh event.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to me. I went to my first CollectCon and half the booths didn't have a single price on it. It's like, what are we doing? I'm not going to sit here and wait for you to price your stuff out, man. What are we doing?
Yeah. I want to know if I want to buy that card before I ask you to, before I talk to the vendor, I want to know if that's a possible buy.
Absolutely.
And it's not, you can't know that until you know what the price is. Yes, Chef and I all the time, if we're walking around and a table's not priced, one of us will lean over to the other and be like, they didn't price their shit. And then we walk away. We just don't take the time. But yeah, definitely agree with that 100%. And then do you have a positive, some positivity you could throw at us?
Yeah. So what am I supposed to say? So it's just something positive about the hobby, or what was the question?
Something positive that maybe you did for somebody, someone did for you, someone that something that you witnessed that was positive about people in the hobby, something like that.
Yeah. So I guess I'll kind of split that into two different things. So something positive somebody did for me when I first got into selling, I actually had a lot of help from a gentleman. I probably shouldn't say his name, but he was an amazing guy. I haven't talked to him in a while, but he was an amazing guy. He taught me so much, and I just bombarded him with questions. I just asked him so much. And even Mason, when I met Mason at Chicago, I bombarded him with questions. I mean, I was asking some questions for sure. He probably got a little annoyed at me by the end of the night, but amazing guy, Mason, amazing guy, my friend who helped me when I very first started. And just being able to have such a great community where you can ask questions and they'll help you learn, and you can teach other people, learn from them and then teach that to other people. Just keep it going, keep everything, positive. So that's something that's happened to me. And then something that I've done that's positive, something that I really enjoy doing when I vend certain events, maybe not like a CollectCon because there's so much going on there, but if I vend a smaller event or something like that, one thing that I did, and I've done multiple times, but one thing that specifically stands out is there was a bunch of kids at this one tournament that I vended, and they were showing that they were interested in the hobby. They were showing that they're interested in Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon or whatever, and it didn't really look like their parents could afford much. They were kind of like, we're just here to check things out. We're leaving soon. We're not buying anything. Like I specifically heard them say, we're not buying anything today. And what I was able to do is I kind of signaled for the dad to come here, and I was like, hey man, your kids seem a little interested. Is it okay if I give them some stuff for free? He's like, are you sure? And I hooked these kids up. I hooked this family up. I gave them starter decks, deck boxes, play mats. The event that we had previously actually had some hats, some Yu-Gi-Oh hats that we had left over. I gave them some free hats. Yeah, it was an amazing time just to keep the hobby growing, keep it, help the next generation. Hopefully they'll pay it forward in the future. And I really enjoy doing that, just helping out the younger part of the hobby, whether it's Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, whatever it is. I really think that's important to keep the next generation very interested. And yeah, so that felt pretty good to do. And the dad was a really cool guy. He thanked me way more than he should have. And I could tell the kids were genuinely interested and very happy about it. So that felt good. I've done that a few times, and I think that's really good for the hobby as a whole.
Nice.
So
yeah, that's awesome. I haven't shared one yet, but I guess I will. One thing that I like to do, and something that isn't that expensive, but I feel like a lot of people like, is I like to buy donuts for the vendor sections in the morning. I like to come in with a couple of Dunkin' Donut boxes and just place them at the different tables that our people are at, and people can just eat donuts in the morning, especially since most people have been drinking the night before and probably need something sugary and in their system.
Shout out to Thrifty, CollectCon Chicago. Thrifty and the person that she was with, I don't know the guy's name, but they gave me a donut. Pokemon? Could be. I've never seen him outside of that CollectCon, but
yeah,
Thrifty and that person, they gave me a donut, and my stomach was growling, man. I needed that donut. I mean, it was a really good donut.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that I appreciate that, and people who do that for sure.
Yeah. Dan will. A lot of times, if Dan's vending a section, he would just buy everyone like lunch. He'll buy like chicken strips from Bojangles or something, or he'll buy burgers from someplace or whatever, and everyone will just get lunch. I think it's not that expensive. There's usually like 8 people or whatever. You can buy stuff in bulk, and it's just a little nice thing to do. Pretty sure it was Rock. Yeah, Rock Pokemon is a great.
If guy. It was, yeah, thank you to him. And sorry, I don't know your name for sure. Yeah, very very appreciate that. Togepi sweater. That sounds familiar. Yeah, I think you were talking about the same person. Yeah.
I think Java should make donuts from scratch now. I don't have a deep fryer, dude. You got to deep fry those things. What are you talking about? Crazy. Who has a question? What is the best Yu-Gi-Oh era, and why is it Elemental Heroes?
Yeah, I'd say either OG LB to AST or E Heroes are actually very high up there for me too. I have a lot of nostalgia with E Heroes. I had the most jank, terrible E Hero deck ever, but man, it was so fun, dude. It was so fun. It was not competitive. I was not winning, but I was having fun, and that's what the game's really about. So yeah, no, that's peak nostalgia for me. That's huge. Yeah.
That's awesome. And Hoodoo, I will ask the question, but we did talk about it quite a lot earlier in the pod. I feel like my questions were good. Everyone's coming in asking the same questions a little bit later. We did talk about some things that Skya would like to see TCGPlayer improve in the future.
Yeah, definitely ESE shipping. I'm sure a lot would agree with that. Bring in tracking to cheap orders on TCGPlayer. I think that's the main thing right now.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we might wrap it up here. I appreciate everyone being here. We'll wrap it up a little bit early. I got a flight later tomorrow. Thankfully, it's not tonight. That would be crazy. Tomorrow we'll be in Chicago. So tomorrow night we're going to be talking to Grimer live from the Airbnb for probably like an hour. So it's going to be pretty late. And then, yeah, we'll have some pre-recorded stuff while I'm gone. And then we'll talk to Chef on Monday when I get back. Skya, if you want to let everyone know again where they can support you, that would be awesome. And then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So TCGPlayer, if you want to buy cards from me, you can. Instagram, SKYAThatOneGuy, Discord. In Dan and Oak's Discords, I'm SKYAThatOneGuy. My actual name's like I could put it in the comments. It's like Alfred444. It's from a video game. But yeah, feel free to reach out, hit me with any questions. I'll answer whatever I can. I'm not as big as Mason and some of these other guys who know a lot more than me, but I'll help with whatever info I can. And if you ever want to try my consignments or hear my rates or anything, I can sell your singles on TCGPlayer for you. Just send me a message and we'll talk about it. But other than that, really appreciate being here. And thank you to everybody who watched in the comments and anybody who watches later. Really, really appreciate it. And thank you, Java, for having me on. It's a little last minute, but yeah, really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for filling in.
Yeah,
we had a reschedule, and I reached out to Sky, and he was like, "Absolutely, I'll fill in." So I really appreciate that.
Last self promo, super quick. The 19th, Metazoo, my first live stream, Rip and Ship, Fanatics. Be there. I would appreciate it. I would love to see you guys there. Awesome. Could go horrible. It could go amazing. It could be 2 hours. It could be 10 hours. We'll see. But yeah, it should be a lot of fun. And again, thank you to Dan. I really appreciate the opportunity from him. So yeah, that's everything I had to say.
Last question before we sign off. Origins of the name.
It's pretty niche. it's a story. It's a story. It was created from a friend who passed away a long time ago, and it's just something that's really important to me. So cool. It's a little bit hard to explain, but amazing guy, and definitely it's more than 10 years old. If you look at my YouTube channel, I think I have videos from like 2012 on there or something like that. I mean, I've got some really old Yu-Gi-Oh videos on there for sure. So I've been using it for a long time. I've considered rebranding to something that's a little bit easier to pronounce, easier to remember, but I like it. It means something to me, and I'm sticking with it. So yeah.
Nice. All right, guys. We'll see you later. Thanks for stopping in. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Good night.